Why, hello, and welcome there. So soon, are you? Welcome back to Watchbox Reviews and Watches Live number 20. Can you believe we've done 20 of these? I can't, but frankly, I've tried to line up a great cross-section of the types of watches we've had over our first couple of months of Watches Live to give you a cross-section of the experience, all in one culminating episode. Now, I could see Scott Hockenberry is first, Matt Foster joining in, Robert Turley, Andrew 12, Simon Holt. Welcome, guys. Welcome aboard, and thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, first things first, this is a show where you can win free stuff as I present watches. So if you send to tim@thewatchbox.com, your name, your mailing address, your phone number, what I can do is I can draw from my selection of innumerable swag items from Basel World and send them to your house on my expense. Now remember, you can't email a package, so you have to send me name, phone number, and physical mailing address to make it happen. If you've already entered, you're already in. And if you've already won, you can still win. By the way, we love our international friends, so you can win if you are overseas. Location be damned, and I can see North Star is joining us from Denmark, so he is our first declared overseas viewer. David Anderson and Noah, welcome aboard. I'm going to pick a winner just to get things underway. Our first winner of the night, is going to be... Okay, Chris Kwan, congratulations. I'm going to send you one of our cool branded hats. I don't know which one since all my stuff is at our other location right now, but you're going to get something cool. Trust me, it's not going to be insert name of brand you don't love. It's going to be insert brand you adore. Okay, thanks, Chris Kwan. You are our first winner of the night. And let's jump straight in. And by straight in, I mean into the deep end. Let's talk diving watches. Here's a watch I bet you didn't expect to see on Watches Live. I promised you high and low horology as well as a cross-section experience where you are looking at the Seiko, not Grand Seiko, but the Seiko Prospex 200-meter spring drive GMT. For around $2,000, you cannot get more dive watch. First and foremost, although Seiko and Grand Seiko watches with ceramic bezels are fairly rare, this one has a superb black ceramic bezel, which, I should mention, has a superb ratcheting action. So we're off to a good start with the ceramic bezel. It's a 44mm case. The case is actually executed in grade 5 titanium, which is both gorgeous and wonderfully light, as the entire watch weighs only 146 grams. Now what's inside is the reference 5R66 GMT spring drive movement. Why is that impressive? Well, first things first, let's see how close we can get to that seconds hand, guys. That is a continuously smooth sweep. It is something that only spring drive has. Now, Piaget has attempted to duplicate this technology, but to little avail so far. It is continuously smooth sweeping. It is not stepped, it is not incremental, because spring drive gives us a spring-powered movement, a fully mechanical movement that creates its own induced electrical current to wake up a quartz oscillator. Since the entire drivetrain moves only in one direction, forward, the quartz oscillator regulates the electromagnetic force, the induced electromagnetic force, that allows the system to speed up or slow down to achieve a spring-powered accuracy of plus or minus 15 seconds per month. It has a 72-hour power reserve. It is watchmaker assembled and regulated. It features automatic winding, 200-meter water resistance, and yes, a GMT second time zone. Now, you don't get Grand Seiko's famed Zaratsu polishing, and you don't get Grand Seiko's exquisite handmade indices and hands. What you do get is a lifetime watch that can be serviced indefinitely by a real watchmaker, and you get it for right around $2,000 US. It has a full bracelet in gorgeous titanium, which you'll note is alternately polished and brushed, and it has a wonderful clasp which is over-engineered in the extreme, as it features both triggers and a clamshell mechanism. It even has a built-in extension which allows you to extend over a wetsuit or a dry suit, while at the same time retaining incremental adjustment pinholes in the clasp body itself. That's a lot of dive watch for $2,000. And I gotta say, this is a Seiko price for Grand Seiko movement, so you're getting a great deal there. Now let's say you want to shoot for the moon, turn the clocks back, or the watches back, to 2009, when Ulysse Nardin released the now legendary Diver Perpetual. This one followed the blue lacquered Aqua Perpetual of the early 2000s, and it was special because this watch featured the Ulysse Nardin Ludwig Oxlin designed Bidirectional perpetual calendar module. I'm setting the perpetual calendar forward and backwards with no hazard to the movement. Note how the month rolls in each case. Now, the Seiko you just saw was one take on horology. That's low horology. This is high horology. This is a watch with a 45mm titanium case made in 500 pieces with a natural vulcanized rubber strap that is scented of vanilla and features a titanium double articulated insert for secure fit. It features a full trigger actuated double folding titanium clasp that is hypoallergenic and with a beautifully contoured chassis actually curves to match the underside of your wrist. You also get Ulysse Nardin's exquisite lacquered and chiseled white gold winding rotor on a Ulysse Nardin caliber 33. Gorgeous on both sides, an exquisite edition that features everything from a carbon fiber dial to a polished grade 5 titanium case. And once again, I'm going to show you bidirectional perpetual calendar. This thing is year 2100 compliant with a vengeance. If you're wondering how Ulysse Nardin achieved this color in the dive bezel, they did it with rubber inserts. And if you're wondering how that's going to age over time, as I did, remember, this watch was made in 2009. It's going to age beautifully. On top of all that, it is a Swiss COSC certified chronometer. A beautiful watch, a rare watch, and frankly, how I would do a dive watch. The best doesn't come cheap, as this watch was $28,500 when it was new, in 2009 money. Today, it's just over $15,000. This is how I would do a diver, because let's be frank, how often do you dive? I hardly ever dive. I prefer not to get wet. How often do you read your watch in the office, at home, on vacation, anytime when you might need a calendar to keep track of the days? Almost all the time. And it has a gorgeous, almost three-dimensional aesthetic to the dial because of the stitched carbon fiber weave on the bottom. Absolutely beautiful. Now, there are two different types of Ulysse Nardin watches. The ones that are designed for Russian oil oligarchs and the ones that are designed for watch nerds. That is an example of the latter. Okay, so now right here, Simon Holt is asking, is that UN tough with just a single-sided balance cock? The saving grace of this movement is that it's based on an old and bomber-tough Lemania Abauche. So yes, this one is tough because it's based on a hardcore and thick sports watch caliber. So the UN module on top is very tough. It's been used across a range of sports watches with no ill consequence. And the system on the bottom is a tried and true old Lemania base automatic with a 48-hour power reserve. Though it has a single-sided balance cock and not a dual-anchored balance bridge, it is very, very robust. And again, that is an awesome way to do a dive watch with a high horology slant. Okay. I can see Fjord Prefect is joining in. Get out of the John Boy. Mine is fine. Wear it frequently. UN fan. I can see Phil Bay saying my Oris band smells like vanilla as well. Oris makes true luxury watches. The Seiko, it's watchmaker serviceable and it has a secondary market. Those two are my criteria for the definition of a luxury watch, but that's borderline. $2,000 is a lot of money for a watch, and you get a grand Seiko caliber, serviceable forever, and again, pre-owned. We're more than happy to sell it. That is a luxury watch, but that is the entry level of true luxury. Oris plays in that price range, the $1,500 to $5,500 US dollar watch. So your Oris watch is a true luxury watch, and I'm not surprised that the strap is vanilla scented, because Oris does everything the right way. Okay. Moving along, I can see the fat gent, self-deprecating fellow he is, saying, I love the UN, very unique. And that's a fact. I love that UN too. For me, that's UN at its best, alongside the Freak and the Sonata. That's one of the coolest products of the last 20 years. I can see Beauty of Sense saying, question for Tim from Watchbox, can I win something? You can. Send me your name, your mailing address, and your phone number to tim@thewatchbox.com, and you might win my drawing. All right, first things first. Amro is asking, where is Patek? I promised you high horology and low. Let's go straight to the top. This is my favorite Patek Philippe perpetual calendar. Sure, the 5016R is gorgeous, especially with its black dial, but the 2017 novelty 5320G slays me. Okay, open up a separate window and check out these references. Patek Philippe 1591. Patek Philippe 2405, Patek Philippe 2438, Now you know where this dial in this case comes from, so we can just talk about the watch itself. Launched in 2017 at Basel World, this is an homage to about 15 years of vintage Pateks made from the 1940s through the 50s. It has a gorgeous cream-colored lacquer dial that is rich and glossy. It has an unusual combination of fully luminescent black and white gold Arabic numerals, white gold and loomed indices outboard of the Arabic numerals, and fully loomed syringe hands. Now, I have a review of this watch going up on Watchbox Reviews, and you're going to get to see what it looks like fully loomed at night. But by day, take a look at that caliber 324. Now, this is the caliber 324. This is SQ, so center seconds, and Q for Quantième Perpetual. This is the only application of this aperture-style perpetual calendar moon phase module from Patek with a center rotor automatic. You might expect to see the 240 micro rotor here. Instead, you get the somewhat more robust 324. You get it with a Gyromax free-sprung index and a Spiromax silicone hairspring. Exquisitely hand-finished, as you can see, circular and linear Côte de Genève, mirror-polished anglage, mirror-polished countersinks for the jewels, and black-polished screw heads. What's interesting about this watch is that when you buy it, you get two case backs. One is a display case back that you see here. The other is a solid white gold case back, because in Patek tradition, they understand that they're shorting you a couple of $100 worth of gold when they give you a display case back with a $30 sapphire in there. So you get the full white gold display case back in case you prefer it for a heftier feel on the wrist, a slimmer profile because it does make the watch thinner, and of course higher inherent value. Now, what I also love about this watch is the faceting and the beautiful triple Gadron lugs of the case and lug combo. You can see how sharp the character lines of the case profile are, and you can see those triple Gadrons beautifully flared and tapered on these beautifully arced lugs. This watch has effective camber from lug to lug. It also has a vintage-inspired box section sapphire that gives it a little bit of a plexiglass look when viewed off-axis. Everything about this watch is calculated perfectly to evoke vintage watches without basking in reflected glory or being derivative of anything. It pays homage to history without plagiarizing it. This is my favorite modern Patek Philippe perpetual calendar. Okay. Questions and comments coming in. I see we have a world of viewers joining us. Steve Place saying, Tim, any recommendations for a winder for watches of this caliber like Patek? I recall a show you did maybe a year ago talking about this, but I couldn't find it. Okay, so some basic advisories. If you want to get a solid winder that will give you programmable options, because you don't want your watch winder tumbling 24 hours a day, and you don't want it moving in just one direction. You want bidirectional winding, whether your watch is unidirectional or bidirectional. Look at Wolf and Orbita. They'll sell you good entry-level watch winders that are of high quality, feature those programmable functions, and significantly feature shielded motors. There are a lot of cheap $40 Chinese watch winders that you can buy on eBay that feature unshielded static magnets in their motors. What do? Well, they magnetize your watches. Avoid those. If you want to spend a bit more money, look at Swiss Cubic. They make great stuff. They are actually the supplier for Rolex branded watch winders. Swiss Cubic. And then finally, if you want to spend luxury car money on a watch winder, consider Buben and Zorweg. They make incredible things. They are the Maybach of watch winders, up to and including handmade watches and clocks, including tourbillon, built into the winders themselves. Also called Les Ambassadeurs, which is a dealer of luxury watches and accessories in Switzerland, and they have custom watch winders they sell out of that shop that include everything from automated counters for your cigars in the winder to laser cigar cutters built right in. They do crazy things. Les Ambassadeurs of Switzerland, of Geneva. Okay. So now I can see Gary Smith saying that Patek is lovely and Russell Washington begging to differ. I'm sorry, Tim, it looks like the old lime dial Seikos from the late 90s. I will say one crazy thing. That watch is not nearly as, how should I put it, orange there's something that's distorting the color of that dial and changing it from off-white or eggshell to almost like a leather color. It's not that dark. There's something about our color that's not quite right. They probably do that to fix my complexion. I take full accountability for this. Also, I can see a question to the effect of why wasn't the Ulysse Nardin week changing when changing the day and the month. All adjustments of that calendar are done through the crown, but the day of the week is done by manually advancing the hour hand around the dial. So you have a quick set for the date and the month, but you do manually advance the day of the week. That's the one weird peccadillo about the system, but again, having all adjustments through the crown means that can be a true dive watch with dive watch water resistance. Okay, so let's continue to move on through our watches of the evening. Now, let's talk about a watch that's a diver and a GMT and a ceramic case all in one. I'm actually going to take off my Duomet right now, a watch you guys know well. We'll show that in a second just for the sake of a wrist shot. But this is a watch that came out in 2016. It is the Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean Deep Black. Now this is a 45mm ceramic case. It's big, it's boisterous, it's not bulky though, as those who have become familiar with ceramic cases realize that ceramic means really light. Also, it's only 52mm lug to lug, so you can see on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, once the strap is sized down, it actually looks decent and it sits securely. The one red line, no pun intended, for this watch and some owners might be the fact that it's 17mm thick, and not everyone's into a really thick watch. That said, with a matte ceramic dial, full ceramic case, ceramic bezel, and a master chronometer movement with a 60-hour power reserve, this is one hell of a compelling diving GMT. Beautiful display case back in spite of the depth rating. Omega equals value. This is an $11,700 watch new. It's more like $7,900 pre-owned. So think, you could have this, or you could have the Sea Dweller 43 for, I want to say that watch is about $11,350. Now look, if you're buying the watch to own it and not to sell, why not buy this? Also, if you buy this pre-owned for under $8,000, you're coming in thousands under the Rolex, and you're getting just as much style. And in my opinion, with the GMT, more substance. This is a great watch that I feel needs more love. The highlight that you can't quite see here is that it has red luminova, and the dial is zirconium oxide, but not in the gloss treatment we've come to know. This one is matte for minimal glare. I love this watch. I love the strap. I love the movement, and I'm going to show you the movement. What do you get for your money when you buy a contemporary master chronometer? You get a lot of Omega exclusive tri-level coaxial technology. Now, of course, the Maytaz standard is higher than the COSC. It meets the COSC timing standard, if we can get a little closer, guys, but it exceeds it because it's a test of a fully cased up watch of resistances, of winding efficiency, power reserve, chronometric precision. So when you get a Maytaz certified watch like this, it's more than COSC. It's more accurate, it's more durable, and it's more tested when it arrives on your wrist. This is a beautiful movement that, though machine finished, features unique choices, such as the arabesque Cote de Genève, flaring out and spiraling from the center, perfectly aligned across the bridges, and the blackened rather than blued or polished screws. Omega does this right, more adventurous and technologically ambitious than Rolex. The watch is also stylistically more distinctive. And look, luxury watches ultimately are about having fun. If you're trying to pay for the kids' education or your retirement, do it with bonds. Buy treasury protected, inflation adjusted bonds. That's what you want to make money, or real estate, or an index fund. Buy watches to have fun, and this watch is fun writ large in 45mm. All right, let's pick another winner. Bump, 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 bump. I see Ray Bonifant saying the Omega movements are growing on me. You cannot get more horological cred for less money right now. These movements, and I've tested this personally in multiple positions over a long period, can run 1/3 of a second per day, which is the tolerance that Zenith is claiming for the Dayfi Lab. Guess what? You don't need a silicon harmonic oscillator to do that. Omega master chronometers. The 9900s which are the chronographs, and their time and GMT equivalents are the best mechanical movements you can buy right now for under $100,000. Okay, Bob Rouleau joining us from Montreal. Let's say hi to our friends and give a salute to our latest winner. I'm drawing names for cool free stuff, swag from Baselworld. Tonight we're giving away hats. I don't have them here, so you're going to have to take an IOU on that. And bump. We have our second winner of the night. Congratulations, Cornell Q. Weaver. And he's actually a local. He's from Philadelphia. I could run this over to his house. Okay, Cornell, congratulations. You're going to get a hat. It's going to be something cool. Trust me, I'm not going to give you a scummy brand. I'm going to give you something neat like Hublot Ferrari or Rolex or Oris or Omega. Okay, Cornell, congratulations. You're our second winner of the night. And in the spirit of Omega, I've shown you the high end. Let me show you what you get for your entry-level Omega dollars these days. Now, this is a watch that you can buy pre-owned for under $4,000, new for $5,250. This is the latest generation Speedmaster Professional Moonwatch. Now let me wind it up because this is one, by the way, it winds beautifully. If you're wondering how the caliber 1861 winds, the 48-hour Power Reserve manual wind is an absolute joy to operate. What you might not realize is that despite being a cam chronograph, with Omega and Lemania manufacturing tolerances today, it's also an absolute pleasure to operate. Now you've got the jump that you saw of a lateral clutch. It doesn't bother NASA, it doesn't bother me. It's the crispness of the chronograph action that is what strikes me here, because this is a cam and shuttle chronograph, not a column wheel. And yet, because these watches are so well made today, and the Lemania tolerances are so tight, if you told me this was a column wheel and I didn't know better, I would believe you. Otherwise, this is the traditional Moonwatch in its latest iteration. What changes? Well, since 1992, it's been an 18-jewel movement rather than a 17-jewel, but the real evolution comes in the form of the bracelet. Now, no spaceman from 1968, when the first versions of the modern 861, 1861 variant debuted, could imagine a bracelet this fine. Solid end links, a beautiful variation between polished and satin facets. You can see all of the sizing, Patek, is done with screws, not pins and sleeves. So each individual sizable link, if you can see that, guys, is sized and removed with a screw, not with pins, sleeves, or spring bars. Another element that is thoroughly contemporary is the quality of the clasp. A milled out single block of steel. It also features wonderful machined swing arms that are solid, inspire confidence, and again surpass the quality of anything you would have seen on an older Moonwatch. I get questions about whether or not you can swim with a Moonwatch all the time, and that is a great question, because the answer, if the watch has been serviced or manufactured recently, is yes. I wouldn't put it in a position where you're going to do diving with it. I wouldn't wear it in a situation where you think you might wipe out on water skis or fall off a jet ski. And if you're jumping off the 12-foot high board, again, I would say probably not, but the watch is 5 ATM water resistance, and Omega tests these things beyond the rated tolerance. So yes, you can swim in it, and if you're going to do so, why not do it with this modern tolerance, modern screw, modern clasp, modern end link bracelet. As ever, you have that gorgeous plexiglass, which does, if we can get a little closer, wonderful things to distort the matte black dial. As ever, you have light on dark printing. Of course, today, Luminova rather than tritium. You can actually see a review of this watch going live on my Watchbox Reviews channel. Please subscribe to this channel. I'd appreciate it. Tomorrow morning. So this is on deck for tomorrow. The Omega Speedmaster Professional Moonwatch, latest execution. And because I'm not sure I said it, 50 meters water resistant. Okay. So I can see Steve Bowden is saying it is a Moonwatch, not a Mariana Trench watch. That's true. Rolex makes that one, and I'm not sure you can buy it. That's the deep sea challenge. But if you want an Omega diver, remember, we've got the deep black on the table tonight. So let's just compare the two divers that I've shown you tonight. We have Seiko with a Grand Seiko caliber. So the caliber 5R66 in this is actually a spring drive derived from Grand Seiko. And right here's our 44 millimeter GMT. Here's our 45mm GMT. Here's titanium. Here's ceramic. Here's a 72-hour power reserve. Here is a 60-hour power reserve. Here's spring drive. Here's a full mechanical tri-level coaxial escapement. Which one's the right watch for you? Well, if you're looking to spend $8,000, this one. If you're looking to spend $2,000, this one. Both have ceramic bezels. That's a tough call. My heart is with Omega, as they are where I started with luxury watches, but there's no denying the value of the Seiko. All of that said, I promised you high horology. It's time to go all the way back up to the top and talk about the apex. If you were to scale Olympus, Zeus would wear something like this. Patek Philippe 5270G-013, made from 2013 to 2014. This was the famous debut model for the chin. If you're wondering what the chin is, it's this sort of doubled up, yes, it's a double chin, second scale, minute scale, and tachymeter. You can actually see 120 between the calibrations of the tachymeter. The numerals 120 have actually been squeezed in between Swiss made. Some people felt that this crowding out created an undesirable aesthetic, whereas others believed that it was a mark of distinction that added a sporty flair to a watch that debuted without a tachymeter scale. Well, this one has that, and it has the chin. Made for only 2 years, this is a watch that polarizes. Those who love it, love it. Those who hate it, and they've only found that the gulf between them grows with time. Now, all versions of the 5270 are picking up in value as market awareness grows in the wake of the blockbuster 5270R, or 1R I should say, as it's on a bracelet, and the 5270P salmon dial of 2018. What is not controversial is the beauty of this case, which looks like an old reference 1579 on steroids, with those beautiful stepped and fluted lugs, the white gold case with concave bezel, giving way to a movement that is pure sex. So this is the Patek Philippe manufacturer caliber 29535 PSQ. I cannot do better on the table tonight, but I'll tell you what you're getting for your money. Now, you're getting a manufacturer column wheel lateral clutch chronograph caliber, and I'm going to show you why you want a lateral clutch. Here's the black polished column wheel. Here's the lateral clutch. Now watch as I cycle the chronograph functions. You can see the interactions of the lever and the horn. You can see the lateral clutch move away from and towards the chronograph center wheel. Now it's driving, now it stops. It leaves no mysteries, nothing unsaid, and nothing to the imagination, although considerable amounts to the heart, joining the head with its engineering virtuosity to the heart with its beauty. This is why people insist on lateral clutch chronographs in an era when every major brand has the technical capability to make a vertical clutch. A lateral clutch is beautiful, and this one is fully jeweled, which is an uncommon refinement on a lateral clutch. You can also see that once I have stopped the chronograph, I can reset it, and you'll watch the recentering hammers fall at center to reset the chronograph. Now it features a gyro max balance, an interesting refinement not shared with the mainstream movements. This one retains a ferrous overcoil hairspring, which is to say it is a metal hairspring with a Breguet overcoil structure such that it can resist various different orientations with respect to gravity. It ensures concentric beating of the hairspring and a centered center of gravity so that it does not deviate in the six positions to which this movement is regulated. Remember, most chronometers are only regulated in 5 positions, with all of the timing crap, so to speak, generally crowded into the one unscored position. Patek Philippe, like I said, hides nothing with the lateral clutch and the manual wind, and they leave nothing hidden with 6-position adjustment. This one has been through the gauntlet. I'll also add that unlike the previous CH2770, the CH29535 has a 65-hour, not a 48-hour power reserve. Okay, so now we have Daniel Fernandez saying, something I can't repeat, and Steve Bowden saying, Gary Smith, can you golf while wearing one? because Gary Smith said, people who say Patek Philippe watches are fragile have never owned one. And that's a fact. There's also a problem that people have in that most of us who get into the luxury watch hobby start on something like Oris, Tag Heuer, maybe Grand Seiko, Omega, or even Rolex. There's a big price delta between all of those and something like a Patek Philippe Grand Complication. So, for instance, if your first watch is this, the Moon Watch, and your second watch turns out to be something like this 5140p Perpetual calendar, this is a very tough and robust movement by the standards of high horology. What it is not is a sports watch. This is a 2.4 millimeter thick base caliber with a micro rotor automatic. It's tough, it's tried, it's true, it's reliable. What it's not is shock resistant. What the watch is not is water resistant. When you have grown up as a luxury watch collector with watches that you can basically drop off your desk, slam against a door, smash against your car seatbelt buckle, and still count on them functioning while dunking them in the pool and wearing them in the shower, if you wear this, then yeah, that is fragile, relatively speaking. But by the standards of high horology, where you have to deal with prima donna independent watchmakers and thin, delicate watches, old watches and complicated watches not suitable for daily use, a Patek Philippe caliber 240 or a 324 automatic, they are tough, tried and true, reliable, and you can expect them to always answer the bell when you ring it. Just set your expectations reasonably. This is not a Rolex 3135 or an Omega 8500. Since we are on the 5140p, let's talk about it. This is a late production 5140p-013. It features a platinum case which has the classic top Vesselton diamond between the lugs, in this case at 12 o'clock rather than 6, because there's a pusher adjuster for the calendar at 6. It features a diamond set dial, and I'm okay with that, because the combination of the white metal, the black dial, and the discreet use of diamonds on a men's watch is sublime to me. The white gold setting of each diamond is gorgeous, such that the dial actually warrants examination with a loupe, just as the caliber 240Q does. You get your money's worth, and I love the double baguette index at 12 o'clock. I have no doubt that this experimentation helped to pave the way for the anniversary Nautilus models and the 2017 5170p with baguette diamond dial. This is gorgeous, a discontinued reference and a modern great, 37.5 millimeters in platinum. The watch is only 8.9 millimeters thick with a generously sloped domed bezel, and it's only about 46 millimeters lug to lug, which means any wrist can wear it effectively. This is one to invest in. As of 2017, the 5140 is discontinued. It had a good run from 2006 when it debuted to 2017 when it bowed out. Just remember, a valuable variant of any Patek Philippe watch will be the dark dial and the white metal. Add the rare diamond set dial and the fact that this one was produced towards the end of the run with the Patek Philippe seal rather than the earlier Geneva hallmark. This is a great everyday watch for the guy who's not going to smash his watch, shock his watch, or soak his watch. And I love it to pieces. Look at the attention to detail, like the recessed crown. Patek leaves nothing to chance. There are no default designs, either in whole or in part. In microcosm, the watch is just as beautiful with its gorgeous countersunk white on black printed registers and coaxial concentric displays for the complications as it is in its general profile. I'm a fan of Patek, but I will admit that that's a lot of money for a perpetual calendar. That watch retailed for $107,000, and while we're offering it for about $80,000, still, even for a rich man, that decision doesn't always make sense. If you're like me and you tend to live kind of a parsimonious lifestyle and you save up for Target watches, I can show you something that might be a little bit more realistic, and it's right up my alley. This watch is both a little bit strange and a little bit marvelous. Yes, it's the Jaeger LeCoultre Master Ultra Thin Perpetual, also known as the Dr. Strange. I have never received so many questions about product placement in a movie as I did back in 2016 when Dr. Strange came out and he was wearing this exact 39mm steel perpetual calendar reference. So many people asked me to review this watch, give my opinion of this watch, give my opinion of its portrayal in the movie. And I was completely overwhelmed because I rarely go to the movie theaters. I went, explicitly to see this watch and be able to comment from experience on its film appearance. I can say that the watch needs no product placement or promotion. It is sensational. It came out in 2013 and it's 8.9 millimeters thick. So the watch is thin in profile. It's also compact across the lugs, as it's only about 47 millimeters lug to lug. Combine that with a 39 millimeter case and it not only looks good on a small wrist, but it fits securely. Let me show you how the ultra-thin Perpetual wears on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. Now you can see that the watch is almost inconsistent with the Stephen Strange character from the movie Doctor Strange, because he's flamboyant, he's eccentric, he's outlandish, boastful, egotistical, all these things before he has his revelation in Kathmandu. But the bottom line is that the watch itself is reserved, tasteful, versatile, handsome, discreet, and yes, thin, such that you can easily see how this would fit underneath a dress cuff. Now, caliber 868, we get back to that durability question with dress watches. This is absolutely an everyday watch. The caliber 868 is free-sprung and tough. The Kurt Claus coordinated perpetual calendar module, designed by IWC and built by Jaeger LeCoultre for this watch, is tough as nails. It's been used in all-out sports watches by IWC. And by the way, all of the adjustments to the watch are done through a single pusher corrector in the case flank. So all you need to do is set the correct day and month, and everything else from the decade and the year to the moon phase to the month and the day move into sync. Everything moves in coordinated, mechanically programmed fashion, so you can't create an imaginal day, date, month, moon combination. All you have to do is to be able to set a conventional watch with a date and a pusher adjuster to set this perpetual calendar. No need to resort to a moon phase. All of the displays are diamond polished, faceted, and hand applied. This, for about $15,000–16,000 pre-owned, is really the entry level to a handmade, hand-finished watch with a real high horology pedigree. If you're looking for that borderline between luxury horology, which means, in my opinion, the watch is lifetime serviceable and has a secondary market, and high horology, which I define as hand manufacture or hand decoration, this is the borderline where you start to step into that upper echelon. And again, for a fraction of the price of a $107,000 Patek Philippe Perpetual, even if you bought that at list at $19,400, it'd be a great buy. At under 16 pre-owned, that is a world champ. So we've talked a little bit about perpetuals, we talked a little bit about GMTs, we showed some chronographs, but what about a watch that blends multiple threads of luxury horology, high horology, chronograph complication, hand finishing, and a great brand name that rivals Patek without duplicating Patek? Well, that would bring Vacheron Constantin to the fore. And I have to say that the third generation Overseas is one of the most underrated watches on the market. I'm giving you a preview, but first I'm going to pick another winner in our contest, because you guys are winning hats tonight, and I'm picking the winners in real time. Bump, bump, bump. You guys are gaining some headwear, headgear on me. Our next winner is Eugene Kim. Eugene, you need to send me your address. I got your name, I got your phone number. I can't text it to you, so I'm going to need your address, but I have your email, so I'm going to reach out. Congratulations, you just won some sort of watch brand hat. All right, now back to the Vacheron. I think we're going to finish up with a crescendo, double pumped, Audemars Piguet versus Vacheron Constantin. Royal Oak 26170 ST versus Vacheron Constantin Overseas Chronograph 5500V. This is 42 millimeters. This is 42.5. This is a 50 to 55 hour power reserve. This is 65. This features exquisite exterior finish of bracelet, case, and bezel. This features all of that, plus a very cool quick release system for the bracelet that allows you to easily and quickly swap to the aftermarket. Nope. I lied to you. OEM alternative strap options. That's right. Vacheron gives you a full leather strap with a full deployant clasp and a rubber strap, both with the quick release lug system. When you buy this watch, you get all of this included. So you get a bracelet and 2 straps. You get a quick release system so you can quickly sub them out. You get a watch that's as beautifully hand finished as what you'll find from Audemars Piguet, but, and if only I still had more nails, I could take the bracelet off entirely. Let me just show you the caliber 5200. Now, what this Audemars and the subsequent displayback 42mm Royal Oak Offshores does not have is a Geneva hallmark caliber. This is finished to a much higher hand-executed standard than you'll find on the Audemars. The Audemars is good, this is top. An in-house caliber and displayback finally on the Overseas Chronograph. It's a vertical clutch, it's a column wheel, and it's 150 meters water resistant so that you can easily take this one swimming, wear it in the shower, wear it all the time, dress it up and dress it down with those accessory straps, pull it off your wrist and bedazzle your friends with a bewildering array of Côte de Genève, mirrored anglage, and engraved 22-karat gold winding mass with a half compass rose and black polished screw heads and regulator cap. This is as good as it gets in high horology. Would I pick this over the Overseas, or rather over the AP Royal Oak? Yes. Would I pick it over the Overseas Generation 2? After much consideration, yes, I would. You get that much more watch for your money. Why pay $50,000 for a Nautilus 5711 when you can get the same level of quality, more technological capability inside, more water resistance, 25,000 ampere per meter anti-magnetism thanks to a paramagnetic ring around the movement? This would be my choice. I would get it with the brown sunburst, but for most, I should say, the silver dial will be the choice. We've got it right here. Guys, thank you so much for joining me for Watches Live 20. We've seen everything from Seiko to Audemars Piguet to Patek Philippe and Vacheron Constantin. We had the holy trinity of high horology, and we had 2 legs of the mainstream triad with Omega and the finale, Rolex. That's right, Cellini. You may have forgotten it exists, but the Cellini duel that I hold in my hand is the answer to the question posed often during this broadcast: how durable a dress watch is that? This is as tough as a Rolex Oyster. The caliber 3180 is bomb-proof. If you want a dress watch that can take its knocks like a sports watch, this is exactly what you want. Rolex caliber 5525 Cellini dual time. All right, guys, that's it. Rolex is the last word. Thank you everyone who joined me tonight. Thank you everyone who chimed in. Thank you everyone who participated in the live chat. If you're watching, comment, subscribe. I love you all. We're back tomorrow with Brian and the Watch Insider back on Watchbox Studios. I'm Tim. This is Watchbox Reviews, and thanks for logging on.